This is Masters of the Market. I'm Johnson Andrews.
And I'm Eric Clary. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody. This is episode number 5 of Masters of the Market podcast. Johnson and I just want to take this opportunity as we get into this wonderful holiday season that we all look forward to and give you guys a little bit of insight into what's currently happening and what we think Q1, Q2 might look like in 2024. So that is a little bit of what we're going to focus on today. So Johnson.
Yeah, so to me, when we go to the end of any year, there's time for a little bit of reflection for things you did well, things that maybe didn't go so well, but also then to try and gear up for next year. Yep. And I think with the way 2023 has gone, there is light at the end of the tunnel for 2024, and a lot of what I'm doing over the next month is going to be preparing myself as well as my team for hopefully a big year. Yep. Because at the end of the day, when we start looking at news outlets, what's going on in the markets when it comes to the holiday season, but then also the expectations from the U.S. as well as Canada with interest rates in 2024, all signs point towards a lot of pent-up demand coming back to the market, which means we're going to be busy. Right?
Yeah, and that's some of the professionals that we both know. We're going to name drop right now. I think that sort of consensus seems to be consistent amongst people that are very active, that are doing a lot of business. They feel, yes, are we going to have more homeowners not be able to afford payments? And you'll see an influx of listings hit the market. But I think based on just a quantitative analysis standpoint, looking at population, you're going to also have more buyers, right? So I've talked to some people that think you might see homes in that 650 price range start to sell 25,000 over asking again. Well, so not big major like 150, but when you might see houses that are market value at 650, let's say, selling for 670, selling for 680, and like few offers.
And I think a lot of it comes back to the fact that there is a housing shortage in Canada, and although it's the dream of homeownership for everyone, and that's what we want to try and help with you as a realtor, me as a mortgage advisor, we obviously want to help people meet their goals. But given the regulations that are being put in place, the interest rates being where they're at, and then the likelihood of prices going up, like CMHC predicts home prices to double over the next 8 years, I think a lot of what's going to end up happening is homeownership might not be feasible for some people the way that they've set this up. And the rich are going to get richer because they're going to be able to continue to buy just due to the fact that they have existing equity in homes, and they're going to leverage that to go buy more. And you're going to see people turn into perpetual tenants unless some guidelines start to shift.
Yeah, totally. And that's where, my content's taken a bit of a shift in the last, I've always thought house hacking.
You're an influencer. You
But my point is I love people that accept the situation they're in. Not accept it and be complacent with it, but accept that it is and use the tools around them.
Yep.
House hacking. You and I have met with first-time home buyers that I'm working with, and both cases, what are we doing? They're going to have a basement rental unit. Maybe it's upstairs because it's side-by-side, whatever it may be. If you look at the housing market over the last 30 years, you've had to, it went from our parents buying their house to our generation getting gifts from their parents to buy a house. And now even that doesn't cut it in all cases because of the cost monthly. So you get the gift from the parents, but now you take 50% of the rental income that property currently has that the buyer's looking to buy. That also helps them qualify and buy the house and then help them with their monthly situation. So I think that needs to be something. And the best part about this is indirectly, these people might never even thought about being real estate investors, but now they're forced into it so they can live in the neighborhood they want. Their kids can go to the schools they want to go. They don't have to sell that house in 2-3 years. What do? You refinance it. They actually rent the main level where they were living. They keep an investment property, then they go buy their house. And all of a sudden now they're building a situation that's like, oh my God, I can't afford a house. What am I going to do? I know it's scary out there, guys, for a lot of people. I don't want to,
sometimes being a homeowner sucks.
Yeah.
And that's what comes with it. And one of the perks of being a homeowner is, yes, you're going to see the value of your home over time likely go up, but there's also things that come along with it where it's the cost. And at the end of the day, interest rates in Canada aren't guaranteed for 30 years. The terms usually range on 1 through 5, and you're going to be subject to market rates again. And that's where you're going to see sometimes those costs go up. But by setting yourself up, if you're a first-time buyer with basement suites, you're going to be able to offset some of those extra costs that might come with a mortgage renewal or a high-rate environment. right?
And there's so many different. We could spend this whole thing talking about it, but I don't want to do that. But I mean, you could also, and if you hire the right people, like in both of these situations, they're going to live in the unit upstairs, but I'm going to be managing it for them. Mm-hmm. So as much as the tenant's down there, I'm keeping that relationship separate.
If you're not the best at it, outsource. That's what I usually say.
Yeah, right. So that's a good opportunity for people to start to understand, okay, so for 8% of my gross income, I can hire a company like Orange List, be hands off, and get all those benefits. And then with somebody like you who's going to strategically make sure the products being used are effective and sort of calculated based on their situation.
Or long-term goals.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, we want to get them into homes, but we want to make sure the product they take is aligned with what they want to do at that home. Now, the part about getting into the home is a lot of the times what's difficult for people. Yeah. And the one thing, we met with someone yesterday, right, where it's November right now, they are not going to be even looking at homes until July, but you're putting things in place now, strategy-wise, to prepare them properly. Because realistically, if you are someone that's looking to purchase a home, you need to start getting your ducks in a row earlier than later in order to do it. And because a lot of the times when I speak to someone, it's a 12-month plan these days if they've never bought before. And what I've been telling them is it's not right. It's never a no. It's just a not right now. Right. And we're going to do the right things.
Absolutely. And again, before we hop on to giving you guys some other very important info, I mean, we work closely together. Obviously, I work with you for a reason. Mm-hmm. But to see Johnson in there, knowing that a deal might not happen, for me, it's not going to happen for 6-7 months. For him, 6-7 months. But we're in there as if we're about to crush it and make money tomorrow. Yeah. So that energy not only starts to solidify the relationship, but it's hard to come by. Mm-hmm. I've sat down with not even just mortgage brokers, any professional. And if it's like, oh, this isn't happening for 6 months or 12 months, like the energy drops, right? The guy that walks in says, I want to buy this hot tub today. That sales rep's going nuts. Yeah. The family that comes in and says, I want to start looking, I'm going to start saving, and I want to buy this in 6 months. I think that you really start to see the character of that individual. That guy's either going to be same energy, pumped up, set up a plan, similar to you with these mortgages and me as a realtor. And that's the beauty of not being in a position where you have to do a mortgage to pay your mortgage.
Commission breath, right, is what we joke about. Yeah. But it's the one thing that I was told that very early in my career was chase relationships, not pennies, right? And in doing that, you create long-lasting clients. And so the relationship, if you look at it, it's the lifetime value of a client at the end of the day, because we aren't in this to do it for free. We do need to make a living. But I'd rather build relationships with people and work with them over 25 to 30 years, which is how long it typically takes to pay a mortgage off, than to have to consistently refill the funnel or the pipeline, so to speak, with new people. Now, don't get me wrong, we still want to do that, but by nurturing your existing clients and treating them properly, which is something that I know you do, given hand-holding with the construction, the renovations, their tenants, etc., you create real relationships in the sense that not every day is perfect for us. No. We don't always do things exactly right. But because you build relationships with people, there are those opportunities where if you did make a mistake, they're going to understand it because you've done right by them for years.
For sure.
And that takes a lot of the pressure off of trying to chase perfection. Because when you're working with someone for the first time, that's what they expect. They don't care that you've done 700 mortgages this year. They care about their mortgage, right? Yeah. And you always have one time at a first impression. So you want to make sure that that's perfect. But then by consistently doing that, if you ever do make a mistake, they'll understand. Right.
100%. So well said. And again, guys, there's people out there that will put you first, right? And not sit here and toot our own horns. That's how we do business. That's how we've gotten to where we are. And I say that with confidence, directly looking at this camera. Now, let's talk about what are things. I know here's a challenge, like especially let's talk about even the buyers that I'm working with, because there's probably, this affects a lot of people. You're coming into the holidays. You have kids. You want their Christmas to be special. You want to buy that special person a gift. You want to buy that family member. You want to take that trip. I believe in all those things and being important but how does somebody right now who's like my two buyers are both they're in good positions, but they got to be careful over the next 6 months. Yeah. And I said it right in my meeting. Like you weren't at this one, but I looked at her and I said, listen, have fun, do what you want to do, buy the food you want to buy, but just try to maybe reduce whatever you've done in the past by 25 or 30%. Mm-hmm. So if you spend $5,000, right? All of a sudden that's 12, 13, 1400. If you spend 10, that's 25. Like that money, and we're looking at it like the $2,500. You think, oh my gosh, that's not going to make a big difference. It makes a difference. That's your legal fees and stuff. So how could we maybe just somebody watching this as they're sitting there and their kids want the new Metaverse Quest 3 goggles and they're $1,000, and what can we say to for the people that are currently trying to buy a home, or they're preparing to buy a home? They think they can't afford it. They've got a bit of savings. They feel like that little bit of savings isn't going to grow to enough savings to buy the house. What do you say? I think it needs to come from you, because you're the one looking at these numbers every day. Say it in a way that'll be impactful enough for people to want to second think that purchase, second think that Airbnb they want to stay at, but there's another one that's $300 a night less. They'll save too. Like, talk a little bit of that.
Okay, so this is tough because I'm guilty of it.
Yeah.
I am very good at spending money. In fact, if we are coming out of a recession, I might have done it myself at one point in terms of spending. But over the last 6 to 12 months, I've been a lot more mindful of the way that I spend money.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that I would instill is trying to get away from immediate gratification.
Yep.
So if you have goals, not all the time are they going to be met, or are you going to be able to accomplish them immediately?
Correct.
And we live in a world where everyone wants everything now, because we have access to it on our fingertips, whether it be through our phone. And it looks as if everyone we know is getting everything that they want via social media, right? Now, a little bit of sacrifice can go a long way in terms of where you want to get to, and it's going to make it much more worthwhile in terms of your own personal satisfaction when you get to that point.
So I think to sort of put this into perspective, you guys may be saving $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000 over the course of November, December into January. If the market does what a lot of people think it's going to do after Q1, that could be the difference in you acquiring a house in January, February, March versus April, May, June. And to think that the market can't go up by 5 to 7 to 8% over the course of that sort of quarter, it's very likely that could happen. And that's we just did it. So 5% on 500,000 is $25,000. I mean, we were just looking at an application yesterday. Mm-hmm. We required a $1,700 a month basement apartment's rent to increase their purchasing power from $420 up to $465.
Yeah.
$45,000, and you need $1,700 a month in rent. So if the market jumps by $25,000 because there was savings that you tapped into during a period where I understand why they're spending, it's Christmas. I'm the last to talk, right? I get it, but it's just like that short-term sacrifice. That short-term sacrifice can make a big difference. And so I'm not trying to say don't enjoy your holiday. All I'm saying is if there's an opportunity for you guys to save even a few $1,000s, if you're trying to buy a home, or if you're in that sort of trajectory to save, and you've spoken with someone like Johnson who's given you a qualified plan in terms of managing your expectations, that few $1,000s can make a big difference.
For sure.
And again, you finding homes for $485 in January, February, that house could be $515. Could be $525 in April, May, June. So that's what we're saying. We're not the kind of guys that'll ever say rush out and do something. I'm just being very honest. You could see a house that you could buy, today not be affordable in your case in a matter of months.
And that's the biggest thing, is make sure that you have a plan. If you have questions, reach out to us, because we'll be happy to articulate this in a manner that applies directly to you.
100%.
So it's not abstract. But realistically, our main goal is to help people, whether it be now or in the future. And to us, I think it's more so just getting everyone prepared for what should be a really, really busy 2024.
100%. So I'd like to wrap this up with Johnson sort of giving us, I would like your opinion on what do you think BOC is going to do over Q1. Well, we got an announcement coming up December.
I would expect that they hold interest rates going into March, and then we should start to see cuts. Now, the expectation, depending on where you're looking, is that they could start coming down aggressively when it comes to the Bank of Canada prime rate. Typically, it's like a roller coaster. It goes up really slow and then down very fast. Speaking,
yeah.
Right?
So that's not Johnson's opinion. That's what it is.
That's what it is. Done. And this is what's happened, where they've now gone up very fast. And what people are starting to realize is they might have overshot the mark of what they needed to do. Mm-hmm. You talk to anyone, they're feeling a pinch right now when it comes to their finances. It doesn't matter how much you make right? So when that starts to trickle down, unemployment's going up. We still have plenty of people coming into the country. And now that the U.S. is indicating that they have cuts expected upwards of 2.5% on their prime rate, it opens the door for us to then move in lockstep to protect our dollar and see the prime rate come down very quickly.
Absolutely.
So if the rates go down, home prices go up. And I think that that's why we want to get people prepared now, because the one thing you can't change is your purchase price. So we would rather people get in before the market takes off and home prices go up, because you're borrowing less money, your payments are relatively the same, and you're going to gain on the value of the home.
Absolutely. So again, guys, there's a lot of different things, historically speaking, that are extremely applicable when looking at sort of the market, this real estate market that we're discussing today. Again, we don't have a perfect crystal ball to.
If I did, I'd make a lot more money.
but what we do have is and that's a really good point. Is a couple things you just mentioned there. Lockstep. Bank of Canada usually moves in sync to a degree with the U.S.
Yes.
85% of Canadian exports go to the United States, so there's trade balances and reasons based on very basic sort of quantifiable mathematics that require those moves to sort of be in sync. And then the other thing, as you mentioned, is like there is an aggressive rate hike that we just went through. There's been other hikes in the past, not as aggressive, but no matter what you look at, going back, I think 70, 80 years, there's also a very similar trajectory on the downward sort of angle.
But faster. They usually have faster coming down.
So we just don't know how long we're going to be here, right? Like if you're looking at a bell curve, we're sort of at the top now where everybody is very confident rents won't move upwards any further. They are set to go down. We just don't know how long we're going to be hovering at the top.
Yep.
So when those decreases start to be implemented, I think I totally would agree with you that we'll see those rapidly decline. And historically speaking, rates go down, hard assets go up. That is a very, very well-known thing that we want you guys to all be very aware of. Because it could impact you. It could impact the school your kids go to. It could impact the size of yard your dog has. It's very personal when you're talking about people's homes. And obviously, what we try to do is give people the best situation or the best case, to try to meet their needs at that time. So be smart, guys. Have a wonderful, amazing holiday with your friends and family. But try to save a little bit here and there where you can.
There it is. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, guys. Thank you.